Religion is cargo cult. Cargo cult is the name for this phenomenon that happened in the jungle when scientists put up their laboratories right next to a very primitive jungle tribe wearing grass skirts and living in huts. That was the extent of their technology. Sticks and huts. No books. Very primitive culture with no technology. So they needed to build their labs. They cut a long runway in the jungle. They put up airplane towers. And then eventually their planes landed, unloaded their cargo so that they could build and operate their laboratories. These primitive jungle colonies watched as all of this happened over the course of a few weeks that it took to build all of this stuff and bring in the planes. So these cultures, primitive cultures, saw this, and they thought that if they built a long patch of flat ground and they built towers, which they made out of sticks, that they would call down a giant metal shiny silver bird out of the sky that would bring them treasures. That's what cargo cult means. This primitive culture created this ceremony imitating these scientists to summons giant birds to drop off treasures. Because of their primitive understanding and their primitive assumptions about a technology and advanced concepts that were beyond their understanding. That's exactly what religion is. Religion came from the exact same phenomenon when a previous, lesser evolved version of humanity witnessed these universal phenomenon in nature and in our psychology and interactions with a complex society of complex entities, which they didn't have the capacity to understand. And so they came up with their own explanations. Whereas now we have a scientific understanding of what's going on with these experiences. We understand neurotransmitters. We understand the subconscious. We understand that complex networks of social interaction create synchronicities, create coincidences. That if you don't understand and see this network's intricacy, you won't understand that it all happens for a very clear reason, very formulaic reason. You don't see that, you make the assumption that it is some kind of divine intervention when it's really just a very clear mathematical, logical network. Other things like our subconscious minds, we notice things all the time that we aren't consciously aware of. We have thoughts and feelings that we are not consciously aware of. They are in our subconscious mind. And the ancient people that developed religions did not have an understanding of the subconscious mind, which explains another huge chunk of religious experience. So, the religionists are like the primitive cultures. They are primitive cultures that interpret these phenomenon which we now understand scientifically the way that the cargo cult, primitive jungle cultures, interpreted the magical birds flying down from the sky, delivering treasures. So, it is about time for the end of the cargo cult of religion, and time for actual understanding, because we already have that understanding. It's been explored, it's been tested in the Western scientific method, It's been explained, it's been written. Now it's time to proliferate the information and elevate everyone's understanding out of this cargo cult religious superstition.